Her name is Fatima. She sells tomatoes at the Karo market in Kaduna. Last Thursday morning, before she finished arranging her first crate, a man stopped in front of a large billboard across the road. He stared at it for a long moment. Then, without saying a word to anyone, he grabbed the corner of it with both hands and pulled. By the time 3 other men joined him, a small crowd had gathered. Nobody stopped them. Nobody even argued. They just watched, some with phones out, as Tinubu's face peeled off the wall and collapsed into the dust of a Kaduna street. Fatima told a journalist, "Nobody sent them, they just did it." Nobody sent them. That is the sentence that should terrify Aso Rock right now. Across Delta State, it happened again. In Lagos, the city Tinubu says he built, the city whose budget he controlled for 8 years as governor, his own people stood in the street and booed him to his face. They called him Ole, thief in Yoruba, on his own soil. Now meet the 2 people that billboard removal actually belongs to, because the story is not really about the billboard. Chukwuemeka is a logistics driver in Onitsha. He used to fill his tank twice a week. Now he fills it once, and sometimes not even that, because diesel costs more than his daily earnings on a bad run. He has not told his wife how bad it is. She finds out when he skips dinner and says he is not hungry. Hajia Binta in Kano runs a small tailoring shop. She has raised her prices 3 times in 18 months. Each time she loses a customer. She is not losing customers because she is bad at her job. She is losing them because the naira that walks into her shop today is not the same naira that walked in 18 months ago. Food inflation crossed 40% under this administration. Not a global figure, not a continental average. Nigeria, this specific country, these specific people. We've humanized the wound. Now we expose the machinery behind the billboards, because that wound and those illegal hoardings are connected in ways that nobody in the mainstream media has been willing to say clearly. Here is where the story changes. Now let us talk about the billboards. Not the ones coming down, the ones that went up. INEC, the Independent National Electoral Commission, has binding, legally published regulations on when campaign materials can be displayed. The campaign window has not opened, not one day of it. And yet, if you drive through Abuja today, through Lagos, through the commercial corridors of almost every state capital, Tinubu's face is already watching you. 4 more years messaging. Glossy, enormous, expensive. This is not a technicality. This is a sitting president deploying resources, state or otherwise, to monopolize your visual environment before the law permits him to compete. It is not accidental. Campaigns of this scale are planned 6 months in advance, printed, erected, managed. It requires money, a lot of it. Here is the question that every major channel has been too comfortable to ask. Where is the money coming from? Because when a president spends this kind of money illegally before the competition even begins, someone, somewhere is expecting a return on that investment. It has never worked any other way in Nigerian politics, not once. The governors who crossed the carpet did not cross it out of ideology. The contractors who erected those hoardings did not do it for patriotism. Every naira that funded those billboards is a naira that has an address, and that address leads back to a favor, a contract, a protection. The billboard coming down in Kaduna was one citizen's instinct. The billboard going up in the first place was a transaction, and the transaction is the story that nobody is covering. We just covered it. The people financing billion naira media have their channels. We have this one. Subscribe to Nigeria Headlines right now, not as a favor to us, but as a refusal to be managed. Every subscriber is one more person they cannot reach with the version of events they prefer. Join the people who insist on the version that is actually true. The CTA has landed at the peak of curiosity. Now we ascend into accountability. No passive voice, no hedging. Names, documents, patterns, and the sentence this script will be quoted for. In the face of all of this, Tinubu has declared himself the best president Nigeria has ever produced. Not adequate, not improving, the best. Let that sentence land. The best in the year that food inflation hit 40%. The best while the naira lost more than half its purchasing value and ordinary Nigerians watched their savings become arithmetic. The best while farmers abandoned their land because armed men had made agriculture a death sentence, while kidnapping became an industry with logistics and pricing, while young Nigerians left in numbers so large and so steady that economists stopped calling it emigration and started calling it what it is, a national evacuation of talent and hope. Not one minister fired for failure, not one policy reversed with honesty, not one speech to the nation that felt like it was delivered to the Nigeria that actually exists, rather than the Nigeria that exists in the speeches. The billboards keep going up, and the people keep tearing them down. Because when a government refuses to be accountable to the truth, the people become the fact-checkers, with their bare hands, in the heat, without pay. Here is what to watch. The number of defected governors does not predict the vote. It predicts the size of the entourage. The vote will be predicted by the price of Gari the week before the election, and every Nigerian in every market already knows which direction that number is moving. The rage has direction now, not raw anger, but focused intelligence. The viewer knows what to watch and why it matters. The send-off must bring this home, from Abuja to the village, from the political to the personal. 2 beats. Verdict on the powerful, then verdict on us. Here is what the billboards and the booing and the defecting governors are telling us beneath all the noise. A government that spends more on its own image than on the citizens it is supposed to serve has already lost the argument. It is just still trying to win the election. That is the verdict on the powerful. And here is the verdict on us, on Nigerians, on you watching this right now, on Chukwuemeka who hasn't told his wife, on Hajia Binta who is down to her last loyal customer. You are not powerless. Fatima's neighbor proved it when he grabbed that billboard with his bare hands. The election is the version where 10 million Nigerians do the same thing, legally, quietly, permanently. Share this in your family group chat. Not for us, for Fatima, for the next billboard that goes up before the law says it should. Awareness is the only thing they cannot erect and the only thing they cannot tear down.